If God asked you to take your only son to the top of a mountain and sacrifice him, what? Would you do it? It's fucking dumb. Would you?
If the moon was made of cheese, would you eat it?
If God showed up to your tent and asked where your wife was, would you tell him? Why is this in the Bible?
Hide your wife, hide your kids.
Well, Abraham did, and it was accounted to him as righteousness. That's right, righteousness. Come join us. We've got some weird and complex stories in the Word of God today. All right, let's do this shit. You're already making me laugh. We should be recording. Good morning, Brother Redding.
Good morning, brother Anderson.
How's your week?
Well, you know, we did Sunday instead of our normal day because we had to bump it forward so that you wouldn't, you know, for reasons that will go unmentioned.
Yeah. Promise that will go unmentioned.
Right. But I'll tell you what. I mean, you know how blown away I was by the Genesis, whatever it was, 6 or 7 or 8. I haven't even started lying yet. So
I know. I didn't mean to bump it.
and my dogs are going to start peeing every time, and it doesn't matter. You know how much weight and how strongly I felt about Genesis 6 or 7, whatever it was. You know, where the divine beings were upon the earth, and later. Mm-hmm. You know, because I haven't fucking stopped talking about it since then. But after Sunday's episode, where God and his two compadres are just rolling through, and they fully try to press up on Sara.
Yeah,
like that's almost like, you know what I came away with, and you know you're gonna have to listen to the last one to. I came away with maybe this whole thing wasn't about God smiting Sodom, and where's Gomorrah, by the way? We'll get back to that.
Same town.
But that maybe it's that what God was doing, what God and his compadres were doing, wasn't any different. He rolls up, is like, "Hey, where's your wife? Let's get with your wife." You know what? I'll pay you for because children were a commodity, right?
Oh, for real? Yeah.
Right. And if you didn't have one or you needed one, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
And so God is in essence rolling up to Abraham, offering this gigantic sum of resources for carnal knowledge of his wife. Right. So what's the difference? What's the difference between that and what at least the guys in Sodom are just like, no, we just want to fuck these guys.
Yeah.
We're not gonna give you anything because you know why? We just want to fuck them. And there's nothing wrong with that. So maybe it's not like a lesson about God at all, or about, you know, the bestiality, like the evilness of Sodom. Maybe it's like, look, the divine beings were just as creepy as the people who were just straight up wanted to bugger you. You know, they hid it a little bit, but what's the difference?
Yeah.
You know, is Abraham, and we have to unpack the part where Abraham was already pimping out his sister.
Yeah.
Wife.
Right. And his sister.
You know, yeah. His half-sister wife.
Yeah.
But it's just been, and then if that's not enough of a message, the part where it's just God and his two compadres, the lords, because Abraham addresses them as lords, right? I mean, it's lowercase O-R-D, but it's lords, and these two go, and when they yank Lot back into the house away from the crowd, what do? They shoot the fucking white light out of their palms so that the dudes can't see, and they're like all like they daze these fuckers with blinding white light.
Yes. Yes.
Boo 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 boo.
Dude,
are you fucking kidding me? What are we talking about? Okay, so the whole takeaway for me is that all of this stuff all of the miracles, almost without exception, the relationships that people had with these beings, notwithstanding, like the can you see me? Where are you? I'm over here. It's like, what? That notwithstanding, all of the magic, all of the supernatural shit, that was just, I think that was just, I think religion has turned into, religion was people without the terminology and the vocabulary to define what they were seeing.
Ooh, yeah. Okay.
Trying to define science.
Yeah.
So science and religion aren't different. Religion was just what they came up with, the stories they concocted to explain what they didn't have words for.
I like where you're going totally, and I agree. Except I do think religion and science are separate. Maybe they have the same genesis. Maybe they start from the same motive inside us to describe and figure out what's going on around us. But it's just it's so rampant in Christian circles to deny science and then go tweet about it. And I'm
talking about, I'm not talking about current. No, I'm talking about like,
back then. Totally.
I'm talking like Old Testament, pre-Christ, I think that the Christians got a really great, life lesson from the Jewish religion. Where it's like, man, we need a book to control these fuckers. If we say this was one guy and you have to come through us to get to him, we got these sheep. We can fuck these sheep whenever we want. But initially, I think a lot of these stories, like you were saying, like the part where like sulfurous clouds were shot down from heaven, maybe it was a fucking meteor.
Or a volcano,
But the blinding white light, don't fuck with me on this, man. This is like these are beings, these are divine beings from the heavens came. It's like,
yep. And I like exactly where you're going with it, because like it's hard to remember because we sit here now, and most of us have been to a church or Christmas or an Easter service of a type, and we have a knowledge of this book and of these people in this book, and that it was like kind of like basically it seems like we all think it just showed up one day complete.
The book?
Yeah, the Bible. It was like it was like they don't realize how many years are in between. And so when you're reading the Old Testament and you're trying to say that it's like these three dudes with God before Sodom and Gomorrah are like Jesus and the Holy Spirit, it's like those ideas weren't even created when this is being written down. Those ideas aren't even thought about yet. We haven't read anything about a suffering servant.
And that's what people that's what Christians now, they say, oh, well, it's Jesus and the Holy Spirit. That's what they okay, that's just
or angels, but like,
well, yeah, but angels, you have to unpack that word. You have to, where does the root of that word come from? It's not winged little cherub bitches. It's fucking people. It's like,
right. And it seems to be, if it maybe, I mean, it's definitely in the rest of the Bible, but like here, like you've said, God is like constantly turning around and being like, hey, what are you guys like? There's like a group of divine dudes that hang out with him.
Do you concur?
Hey, what do you? Yeah, you
do. You
so
concur?
You want to fuck Sarah? We'll change your name after this. You fucked her too good. Like it's like,
yeah, totally.
Like
I should have just concurred. Why didn't I concur? Yeah, no, it's true. And I've been like last night I couldn't sleep, and so I'm like on the toilet just like reading the fucking reading it over again. I'm like, wait a second,
too,
blinding fucking white light. Wait a second. Fuck. And I was telling my buddy about this thing. He didn't know we were doing this. He's like, what we should do? We should start a church. I'm like, I thought that, and Leif kind of waved me off a little bit, but I think it's going to happen here at some point, because why not? Like,
why not?
Yeah.
Well, we're building a congregation, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, and worldwide, motherfucker.
Worldwide. We don't even know how to say most of the towns, so we'll get on that. But like, the weird part is that you and I both had insomnia and chose to read the Bible last night instead of.
I know.
And I had the same epiphany because I was like, I'm like, well, these people lived so fucking long ago, and it's true. They came up with other humans and they had a society. They were part of another culture that had their own religions in that culture, and they kind of move away from it. But all of those people, everyone, Mesopotamian, Canaanites, Babylonians, what becomes Israel, they're all just trying to describe this thing we can't describe inside our heads, like they're all trying to describe the undescribable. God. They gave it a name, God. It must be like a dude because we create stuff and we make gardens, so,
Well, I think it's less internal than that. I don't think it's an emotional thing they can't describe. I don't think it's a spiritual thing they can't describe. I think it's a literal thing they can't describe.
Okay,
they can't describe these things coming down.
Yes,
they can't describe this blinding light that shot out of these motherfuckers' hands.
Yeah,
they can't describe. They can't describe like these thunderous lightning shooting clouds. It's like they can't describe them, so they say A, B, and C. I feel like, and you're right. I mean, to us currently living in a time where the news cycle is 35 seconds, yes.
Goddamn.
7,500 years ago was a long time.
Yeah.
But in glacial terms, that's like it's a couple of eye blinks, and if you think about when you grew up and there was nothing, you know what I mean? There was nothing. You were out in the woods all day with nothing. It was like that, only without running water. It's like you just have to extrapolate, reverse engineer that.
Yeah.
20 generations? It's only 20 people old. We're only, or maybe it's, I don't know what the math is, but it's more. Right.
But not really.
But 3 generations gets you to the 1800s, right? So do the math. I don't know what it is, but if you go 100 people ago, 100 generations ago, where are we at? And it's just that same thing where like every year there's just more shit to do, or seems like. But the people who grew up, who are born now, although they're going to have the internet, so they have everything. So fuck them. Like they won't be, like that's going to be. But like we can, having watched the space age, the technology age, the coffee age, for God's sakes,
Jesus,
like. For having watched those things come out of nothing in our lifetime, it seems like it's a little bit easier for us to, I can imagine living in the woods or living in the desert, or it's not that hard to do. But they didn't have descriptions for these literal things that were befalling them. These, and if it's
that's the bow right
people
there.
Came down.
That's the bow. We're wrapping on that right there.
People came down from heaven, heaven.
Yeah.
People, men.
Yeah.
People, not like they made if this book is correct and it's inerrant, then people that look just like us, the people that we were made
in their
image, came here.
Yeah.
Came here.
And it was like a chaotic place. They kind of terraform it. Yeah.
Arrived here from somewhere else, and maybe that's another reality. Maybe that's another, the next slice of bread over in the multiverse.
For real.
Maybe it's like a through a wormhole, whatever it is. Right? They came here and made us.
Well, yeah,
that's what the Bible says. I'm not fucking with this. You know what I mean? Like,
dude.
I'm just the messenger. Don't shoot.
Yeah, no, we're just trying to be good Christians here. We're just reading the Word of God, y'all. We're just trying to let the Scriptures speak for the Scriptures, and like, I think it's fucking awesome, and I like that because like I'm still like in this agnostic, gooey world of like, is this just a psychological metaphor for the human condition? Is this the explanation of evolution through human dramas and stories? But you're like, no, these motherfuckers came down here, had some parties, through the first fire festival and then peaced out.
Right. Like did the first deadbeat dad and fucking beat feet, I do grapple with the reporting,
in the Bible.
Yeah.
Like
even reading it's and the other thing about the one about the last thing we read with Sara and the gods, where she's like,
yeah, she laughs.
What you're gonna make me come? You're gonna bone me? You're gonna mark
Should I
me
have
deep?
pleasure in my old age of life? Yeah.
When my husband's withered. but then she's like, but like she's afraid. She can't, like, that's her. They're abusive. You can't, because they're no, I didn't say that. Yes, you did.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And they knew instantly. They knew what she was thinking.
No, it wasn't. She knew that. That's not what it was. Because
but she
was
wasn't
right behind,
near them.
She was in the tent behind them. It's a tent.
But what if she just goes? Hee.
No, well, she sort of laughed to herself.
If they can blind people, but with their palms, I'm gonna say that they could hear someone in a tent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's say it's 40 yards.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got the feeling that it was like they were outside the tent. Okay. Like right, there's a tree outside the tent. Where you would. What's that?
Oh, nothing. I'm just trying to keep it in my head. Yeah, tree outside the tent. They're having a conversation. You think it's
like
it's close proximity.
You would. I just think that you would put your tent up right by a tree so that you could go out and sit in the shade. You know what I mean?
That sounds lovely.
Yeah, it's like you want to have a little vibe going on, right?
Yeah,
right by your tent.
Vibes.
And if Sarah's working some divine being under the tree, she can just doesn't have to go doesn't have to go a football field to get to the tent.
Weird. That's such a fun sentence.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Well,
And
it's
what do you
super
do with
important that these are walking around. That they're walking around, and so we should just go right in now, because it totally goes into the Yeah, you read this one, because this is probably one of the most famous, but it goes to this thing where God's always sending his cronies, right? And they look and they seem to be speaking for him as if it's as if it's a mother, as if it's a we thing or a counselor. It's like it doesn't really matter who shows up, just don't worry about it, we got you. Yeah,
and I guess before we could, we're getting into this, like you said, one of the most famous stories is Isaac. It seems like there's always got to be conflict, right? And the conflict seemed to be before this was the fact that our two Luke Skywalker, you didn't want to sign off on, was 80 years old. Luke Skywalker was these. At least we don't think they were old. We think it's the numbers are mystical and have different meanings. So we think they're old for people who would have kids, but that's the conflict, right? Is the unbarren woman.
No, I if that's what we decided, I think I've gone back on that, because I think that it's more Mac 1.0, Mac 2.0, where it's humans 1.0 didn't have an age governor. When they first designed them, they're like, oh, fuck, hold on, shit, they're going to live forever like us. Shit. No, let's put a governor on these fuckers. Let's give them a cap it at $1.20. It's like a built-in obsolescence, It's like we want these models to die off so we can procreate.
We got to sell new shit,
Right, exactly. Yeah. Well, we need more bodies. I guess that wouldn't be more bodies, but whatever. Yeah, we can't have so many bodies.
I guess where I'm going from this angle is it almost feels like the main story, because it's who's talked about, obviously, is Abraham. And right now it's the fact that get the angle. Right now it's the fact that they can't have a kid, right? And now we get so obsessed with the minor details that were probably nothing to people back then. God was walking around fucking bitches,
So where is it? So I know he definitely promises them a kid. Right,
he promises.
I get that.
A nation, right?
Well, yeah.
He says your descendants will be more than the sands of the seashore, right?
Right. and I get that. So, okay, like the
Right.
problem I have with a lot of this is that like the continuity
Yeah.
seems to be all fucked up.
It totally is. Yeah.
Well, so my point is that we can't instill, we
That's
can't
why we're talking
insert.
through it, right? No, we can't. We gotta
Right, so it's
look
like-
at it every angle. But
So
I
like-
think. Oh, sorry.
It just seems like every story's cut from its own. Like you almost like it isn't a timeline at all.
No.
And so how can you say, oh, that they were super worried about? Did they not have kids until Isaac? Was that Abraham's first
Yeah.
kid?
So if we remember, Sarah was barren, and so according to the law back then, if you were a barren woman, you had to offer up your slave or a handmaiden to give your husband a male heir. Essentially, It was like a requirement. In fact, that's why we see. I think it's Sarai. At that point, her name hasn't been changed.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
forgot that, yeah.
So she's the one that offers. She's like, take my handmaiden Hagar, right? And so that gets even more confliction here, and that's why I'm kind of trying to bring up these motifs that have been happening. So we have a barren woman. We have the monarch has a bastard son, right? So and the fucking their brother, half brother and sister. So. Like, where do you think Game of Thrones got all their fucking content? Because it's like,
yeah. Well, and it's just a fucking crazy story. I wish that this was because now I remember this. Yeah, like I wish this was had actually the timeline of this is all fucked up. The continuity is all fucked up. They keep jumping around,
and we know that I'm not as versed in the Old Testament as I am the New. Obviously, but we know that the transmissions of these stories were not the best, and we know that there's lots of changes, and so who knows what additions were made over the years? We don't know. We don't know. But as we're reading this, it's like that's why we have to like be like, okay, so what the fuck is going on here? Because, like you said, there's it seems like every word is very important. So now. Let's see what word actually.
Sort of. It's sort of like we sort of.
Oh,
and
not for us. For them back then.
Right.
Yeah, not for
us. They put them in there, but like we have no way of like. There's
lost.
Context that we can't ever get back. Like, oh yes, you did laugh.
Exactly.
Oh yes, it's like
exactly
creep.
It's rough, man, and it should be talked about. It's shied away from because every individual who believes in Jesus really wants to believe in Jesus, and how can you go to that church if the words have been fucked with forever? Because that pastor doesn't speak Greek, that pastor doesn't speak ancient Hebrew, so
just barely speaks English, man. ladies and gentlemen, Genesis 21.
Oh man, right then I can edit this because I just hit a button and it went wonky.
So what just happened?
I think we were doing.
We fucking tapped
good.
into it, didn't we?
I think we were doing too good.
They don't want that shit. They're
don't
like,
want it.
no, you were about to. That was like that was from another another reality,
Dude.
They were like,
Full
yep.
fucking
No. They were fucking flowing. Flow stayed on the fucking. Flow stayed on the real deal. Turn that shit off.
Too much knowledge out there in the public.
That was fucking-
Motherfucking dude, like
boy.
you did for the audience at home. Jeff did some laser guns, and then like both of our computers exploded. Like it shut down everything on my computer.
That's so funny. So did the last one where I'm like,
Yeah, you went, pew, 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 and then my computer went and like. So I have no idea.
oh awesome.
Oh, man, this weed's
All right,
good.
with a-
It's already giving me droopy eyes.
Yeah. Right.
So before I hit this and start, man, that's weird, right?
That was pretty freaky.
I love the causal effect we can't get away
dude.
from, the reasoning in our minds.
Yeah.
It's so silly. Well, I think we recapped that shit pretty well, though, because, like,
Yeah.
it's freaking weird, man, reading the Bible. And that's why most Christians won't do it. Because they don't want to have to answer or talk about or think about these hard, weird fucking things that are in there,
maybe what this really is the very beginning of the largest book club ever. It's like if you're that, like, and I don't know if we're allowed to say this out loud, but like, white people's solution to anything is, well, let's start a book club.
That's amazing.
And for a minute, amazing. And this is totally off. I don't know if it is or not, but for, my son is special education, and at the beginning of 2 school years ago or whenever it was, that got lumped in with diversity training, diversity in special education. And so I was like invited to be on this panel or this committee. And it was just like that, where it was like, and it was mostly about diversity. It was, and what do you guys think as far as special education parents? I'm like, I'm just listening for now. But then they'd be like, now I don't want to be a cliche, but should we start a book club about it? I was like, that was the last meeting I went to. I don't want to be a cliche, but
you guys realize there's Google now, right? So rough. Yeah. So rough. Well, yeah, our book club involves one book, but
but the book that everybody, the book that everybody should read, not the one that everybody will read. Ladies and gentlemen, Genesis 21.
And the Lord took note of Sarah as he had promised. And
now let's just immediately fucking, what the fuck does that mean? That's the first time we've heard that phrase, but it's like, yeah, we know this story. You're super into these women, and this one in particular took note.
Let's look it up.
What does that mean, dude? Seriously, unpack that.
Yeah, we're looking it up.
The Lord took note of Sarah as he had promised. As he had promised. Like he just said, what? Where's your wife? I'll give her a baby.
In the original Hebrew, it says the Lord visited Sarah.
Yeah, took note, motherfucker. Yeah, pressed up on, visited, came to in a dream in the night.
He's not a player. He just crushes a lot.
Yeah, well, we're just like, so what's the difference between that verbiage and translation and the one about Mary seeing, getting the doot.
Oh, I think it's totally different. It's a different language, right? So this is ancient Hebrew, and that story's in ancient Greek. So I don't. Here, though, I think
too literal.
I think we can say
an answer. Too literal.
No fun. well, let me think about. Thank you for being here, Jeff.
Too literal. It's the same. He banged them both.
I think
we also would have accepted. He banged them both, Bob.
Is that our first snort? Was that the first snort? That's great. Maybe. See, the downloads are going up. The entertainment value is going up.
So the Lord took note translates as came and visited.
Yeah, and Yahweh visited Sarah.
Yeah. And we know what that means. And Yahweh is different from Elohim, right?
Yeah.
Yahweh was the bitch, prominent. Right?
Yeah, he's the one that like scuffles around.
Yeah,
the forest, like can't see behind bushes. And
now, which is Yahweh the one who rolled through with his 2 companions? He must have been, because this is the same story, right?
Yeah.
And he fucking So Yahweh shows up, throws down on Sarah.
He visited,
Yep.
He's just tending his garden, if you will.
Well, okay, he's tending Abraham's garden.
Touche.
Abraham just doesn't have the green thumb that Yahweh has.
Man, if they can, how could you compete with that?
With the magic dork?
Yeah, it'd be like Drake or LeBron James rolling up. You're like, well, I guess I get a gun? I don't know. What the fuck? A lot of push-ups or something. I don't know. Yeah. So here we are, Genesis 21. Yeah. The Lord took note of Sarah, as he had promised, and the Lord did for Sarah as he had spoken. Sarah conceived and bore a son to Abraham in his old age, at the set time of which God had spoken. Abraham gave his newborn son, who Sarah had borne him, the name Isaac. And when his son Isaac was 8 days old, Abraham circumcised him as God has commanded him.
Real quick. That makes Isaac Nephilim.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Just go
How
ahead.
interesting.
Yeah.
I said totally, like I believe that, and I was on the same thought process as you, but I've never thought of that before in my life. So I should have said, that was, that should be, that's my real reaction.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. Just want to,
Jesus.
right? Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. Sarah said, God has brought me laughter. Everyone who hears will laugh with me. And she added, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would suckle children? Yet I have borne him a son in his old age. The child grew up and was weaned, and Abraham held a great feast on that day that Isaac was weaned. Sarah saw the son whom Hagar the Egyptian had borne to Abraham playing. She saw a little kid playing. She said to Abraham, cast out that slave woman and her son, for the son of that slave shall not share in the inheritance with my son Isaac. The matter distressed Abraham greatly, for it concerned a son of his. But God said to Abraham, do not be distressed over the boy or your slave. Whatever Sarah tells you, do as she says, for it is through Isaac that offspring shall be continued for you. As the son of the slave woman, I will make a nation of him too, for he is your seed. We can pause there, right?
Yeah. As the son of as for the son.
Yeah.
Of the slave woman.
Getting cotton mouth as I'm getting to the end there.
Yeah. Well, and none of this is super surprising. This is total Game of Thrones shit.
Yeah.
Where it's like, get that bitch out of here.
Yeah.
Get the bitch with her son.
Yeah.
You're old guy. We don't need that now. We got one. You got the heir.
How about right at the beginning where we barely made it through, right? Like God visits Sarah and then she has a kid. Oh, look at that.
Yeah. No, he's got the magic seed, right? He can impregnate anything. And that's why he's Nephilim. That's why Isaac is Nephilim. He's divine. He's half divine being. These are like so like and you know, and I hadn't thought about it until just now, but like maybe that's the reason that, you know, that bloodline, the begots.
Yeah.
That's why that's so important. Is that all of these bloodlines are Nephilim, you know, and everyone is. It's like that's why the thing about, you know, the Christmas gift was like divinity is inside you.
Yeah.
We all have that divine DNA in us. We all do.
Yeah.
There weren't enough people to, you know, like it's almost like Genghis Khan times 10, you know. Or is it Genghis Khan? Is it?
Yeah.
It's him, right?
Genghis, maybe.
Genghis? Is it him that has?
I don't know how it's said.
He did so much tapping that like almost like some crazy number of people on the planet have his DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's that only
he fucked you out of existence.
Or into existence.
Bloodline. Yeah. Well, yeah. But it's that times infinity, right?
Yeah.
Because
of
because of cosmic.
Because it's divine.
We don't know where God ends.
Right.
You know? Yeah. I think it's even crude to like. I think it's so crazy that we put him in these small boxes, like, you know. And I don't
he just lives on a cloud above our
all
earth.
of it. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Show some respect.
Seriously, he's not just in concern with us. Yeah,
Well, and like, he doesn't just interfere in the affairs of men. He doesn't just like literally come into their lives and like eat some of their food and fuck some of their bitches. Like, you know, he walks with them too. So where is this now, right? Like, where is God? Does God dress up in a robe and like go out in Miami, like with some buddies. Like
Is God really Jorge Masvidal?
Oh, dude, that actually would make sense to me. Right. All hail.
Well, because apparently dude's a deadbeat dad. You know, it's like,
oh, is he? I
dude,
think he's
Jorge, please, Jorge.
I'm
sorry, Jorge. I'm a big
Jorge.
fan.
We love you. Massive game bread all the way, brother.
Don't hate. And
fucking
you're gonna kick Colby's ass. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
So he totally impregnated Sarah. He said he would, and that's the thing about her laughing. Like,
yeah, that's another thing. What's that about?
It's really crazy that she would laugh. Like, why would she? Maybe just the idea of her being pregnant was hilarious to begin with. And why would she feel so self-conscious about laughing that she would deny laughing? Because her isn't Abraham's is Abraham. How far back is Abraham from Eve and Adam? Are we a ways back?
We're a ways ahead now. I mean, Abraham lived about a person named Abraham, and we can date him to about 1400 BCE, I believe.
But so he's way after the flood, way after all that stuff, right?
He's in history. Yeah. These are people that lived in memoirs and stories about them, like. Yeah, you could Google it right now. It's gonna be real easy.
Okay.
He lived in a city called Ur.
Right. So
yeah.
So my point was that we, like, Eve was like, yeah, I ate the fruit. Fuck you. You know what I mean? She was a baller. Okay. She was like not taking any shit from anybody.
Yeah.
When Yahweh shows up. Yeah. And I was just like, I wonder why. But obviously, if she's ground zero, then she's Nephilim. She was created, so she's fucking divine.
Yeah, she came Jesus, right from God, right? So like,
dude,
what'd you just figure?
Dude, well, if we're talking about, we already were divine. We were created in His likeness. Like, it doesn't say we were created differently. It says we were created like them. Like if we're saying that Isaac is Nephilim because God impregnated Sarah. Okay. Then so he's a half breed. Aren't Adam and Eve like a straight shot? Like moonshine? Like 100 proof?
100 proof.
Like, or, no, 200 proof, right? Like 100%.
Like from the lips of God. And I don't mean that literally.
Like from seed. Yeah. Like they're original
issue.
Genetics, right. Mm-hmm. So doesn't that mean that we're all descended from God genetics?
Sure, but modern church or No.
I
think this. Let me make this point because the fall happens.
the fall of the flood?
They get kicked out of the garden, right? So like whatever paradise God created for them, they don't get to partake in pretty quickly.
But they're not. But they're still the same people.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole mythos of our life is to go back and find this garden again, right? To live in paradise again, where the lamb and the lion will lay down together, right?
What?
Oh, I got way too weird on that. That was some homeschool shit right there. Well, like I don't want to take it away. I don't want to.
My only point is that like like your mind was blown with Isaac being Nephilim. You're like, oh shit. Well. Yeah. We always think about Adam and Eve as these flawed creatures, but they're actually the opposite of that. No, They were divine, but God wanted to keep them from knowing they were divine. And the snake's like, bitches, you're already divine.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And so like that's all I was saying.
Yeah. And apparently there's a fruit here that will let you live forever. Because that's how you get kicked out of the garden.
There was.
There was.
That could have been 1.0, Garden 1.0.
Yeah, we need Nick Cage on this, really. Right? We need some Nicolas Cage.
Because why?
Because obviously, what if like the Garden of Eden is still like preserved under a desert somewhere? You know what I'm saying?
You're talking about like National Treasure. What was that? What's that movie?
I can't remember. Yeah, the Declaration of Independence movie.
Yeah.
What is it? Yeah, totally, right?
Yeah. Okay.
We need one of these guys.
I like it better when they called it Raiders of the Lost Ark, but whatever.
Yeah, it was way, way better. But God's definitely still fucking around with people at this point in the Bible, right? He really likes them, hangs out with them, likes to fuck them. just
Okay,
most
keep
likely
reading.
just gave Sarah a baby.
No, we're past that.
Oh yeah, I'm just stoned, having fun with recapping a little too much. Apparently,
We haven't finished. You can't recap.
let's go
till
to
we finish.
14.
Okay, early next morning. And
Yeah.
the sun, slave owner.
Early the next morning,
yeah,
Abraham
there you go.
took some bread and a skin of water and gave them to Hagar. He placed them over her shoulder, together with the child, and sent her away. She wandered about in the wilderness of Beersheba. When the water was gone from the skin, she left the child under one of the bushes and went and sat down at a distance, a bow shot away. For she thought, let me not look on as the child dies. And sitting thus afar, she burst into tears. God heard the cry of the boy, and an angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, what troubles you, Hagar? Fear not, for God has heeded the cry of the boy where he is. Come, lift up the boy and hold him by the hand, for I will make a great nation of him. Then God opened her eyes and saw a well of water. She went and filled the skin with water and let the boy drink. God was with the boy, and he grew up and dwelt in the wilderness and became a bowman.
Hold, please.
Yeah.
Let's get a translation on God was with the boy,
Yeah, let's look it up.
because it sounds like he had sex with him. And if that's and look, you know what? Like God was with Sarah, God was with Mary, God was with the boy. Man, I fucked that kid. He grew up to shoot that arrow straight. Look, I'm just calling him like I see him, man. Balls and strikes. Balls and strikes.
Parse it straight, guys. Just read
Look,
the
I
word
want
of
to.
God.
Let's be accurate. That's all. This is what I was reading.
Noun, masculine, singular.
But with the boy. With.
I'm looking up the word with.
Oh, okay.
The translation of it here. Let me go back and see where else it is used.
Excuse me.
Oh, oops. Wrong button.
Sorry. Cassie.
Okay, well, this, the with, it happens 280 times in the Bible.
Okay.
Walked Enoch with God. Become his time with God walked. And behold, I will destroy them with I am about to destroy with. It's like, it seems to be like an action. It like physically walking.
So it's not the way, it's not like came to Sarah.
No.
Took note of. It doesn't say God took note of the boy.
He didn't visit the boy.
He did not visit, yeah. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Just
No,
go
that's
ahead.
good.
Yeah.
But I mean, pretty intense scene, right? When you like this mom is a slave woman who's watching a baby die, and
Yeah.
so I guess this God and his friends, the angel he sends, are merciful at least.
Well, he promised, and again, this is the impetus of the nation, of another nation. But the part where God was with the boy in the wilderness, like raised him in the wilderness.
Yeah, this guy grows. He grows. This Ishmael is actually one of the prophets of Islam.
He's the guy. He's the guy.
He's not like I think. I don't know much about this faith. I'd like to learn actually. I believe it's Allah.
I thought that
Allah is the main guy, and he's a prophet.
I thought that Isaac is the beginning of Judaism, and Ishmael is the beginning of
Pretty much
of how is it? I'm so sorry.
Islam, but
Islam,
Islam even recognizes Christ. They think he was a prophet of Muhammad as well. Right. You see, so there's essentially divine men that do these great things. Martin Luther King would, in some sense, kind of like those kind of figures become.
Right.
Yeah. So, okay, he's not fucking the dude. He's not fucking the boy.
He's not fucking the boy.
There's no Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. He lived in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother got a wife for him from the land of Egypt. And at that time, Abimelech and Pekol, chief of his troops, said to Abraham, God is with you in everything that you do. Therefore, swear to me here by God that you will not deal falsely with me or with my Keith and kin. Kith, thank you, and kin. But will deal with me and with the land in which you have sojourned as loyally as I have dealt with you. And Abraham said, I swear it. Then Abraham reproached Abimelech for the well of water which the servants of Abimelech had seized. And Abimelech said, I do not know who did this. You did not tell me, nor have I heard of it until today. Abraham took sheep, oxen, and gave them to Abimelech, and the two of them made a pact. Abraham then set 7 ewes of the flock by themselves. And Abimelech said to Abraham, what mean these 7 ewes which you have set apart? He replied, you are to accept these 7 ewes, which is like a young cow, right, or something like that?
I think it's like a goat.
Yeah, okay.
Or a sheep.
From me as proof that I dug this well. Hence, that place was called Beersheba. For there the two of them swore an oath. Then he had concluded the pact at Beersheba. Abimelech and Pekol, chief of his troops, departed and returned to the land of the Philistines. Oh, interesting. Abimelech's from Philistine. Abraham planted a Taramach at Beersheba and invoked there the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And Abraham resided in the land of the Philistines a long time. Notice how like this Abimelech guy is saying God, but then right here in 33 it says Abraham and invoked there the name of the Lord, all caps, So it's like every time God or El is mentioned now, like the person, whoever's in the fucking story seems to be like, nope, it's Yahweh. There's always like a little thing like that. It seems like now, right?
Yeah. So those are different dudes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're different dudes.
El's a super ancient god. He becomes Elohim. Like there's a god before him. El. It's fascinating.
Yeah. Where does and Abimelech is the guy who Abraham gets to shack up with Sara the last time we've heard about it, just like in 19, right?
Yeah,
and he's
they've
like,
already
got
got beef.
Yeah, well, they quashed it and
quashed it. Yeah,
well, because God shows up and God comes to fucking Abimelech and be like, guess what? I got good news and bad news.
Syphilis.
right. You can either be the first guy to ever get it, or you can do what I say.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But then also remember
syphilis.
Al Capone died of syphilis.
Right.
Also remember, like, God in that story stops Abimelech from doing anything.
Well, he says he does. He like Abimelech doesn't do anything.
Well,
then God comes to him and says, I kept you from doing it.
Yeah.
Which is like,
I like that. That's
maybe Abimelech's a stand-up guy and he thinks something's fishy because he's a king. Of course he's going to nail this thing.
And
right?
what if
he's going to?
Yeah. What if God was just like, I know you did that. I kept you from.
I know you
that.
did.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Like he showed up late.
Well,
he's like, no, I totally kept you.
Well, I was off. I kind of took note of this other baby, and I was sorry. I was busy taking note over here, and she didn't see what she was wearing under that dress. Yeah, right. It's just like out there, just slinging. It's just fucking crazy.
He like subscribes to like every OnlyFans ever. God.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. So, interesting that. So what? So God made the well to help Hagar and what's the Hagar's son's name?
Ishmael.
It is. Okay. Yeah. Yep. So God dug that well. Is that the same well they're talking about?
No, I think that it's that well seems to just appear magically. The
No, I
well,
know.
the watering thing they're talking about, it could have been a number of things. Because watering rights, which is like if there's a decent water source, a river, anything back then, let's say that's where you water all your 200 sheep, and then some dude rolls up with 400 sheep and starts. So there'd be like.
But why are you talking about that? Like that?
Because it was important to them back then, and it would usually be.
No. But you're filling in blanks that aren't being said here. We can only take what's being said here.
Right. So we should know that when it talks about water and sheep and stuff like that, a lot of these are like probably referring to.
Should know and probably are things we're not dealing with.
I agree, but we unfortunately with this, all we have is how people lived back then. And now we have these fantastical stories. So I like to remember always what people were doing back then. You see what I'm saying? So I don't think this is probably and should know. I think it's like we should draw our conclusion from the most amount of evidence ever. So I think it's just throwing it out there that we have. We have signed receipts of older men buying young. Do it.
I did.
Yeah, for what?
Is that not? We have signed receipts. You're
Humans,
you're gonna have to produce these.
Yeah, they have.
I'm not an archaeologist.
Yeah, but
I've never read the Bible before. I'm
so you
just
can take it. Like
I'm a Philistine. I think I would qualify as a Philistine. It's a dirty person, a really dirty person. You ever see anyway, but okay, I want to go back to this though. You ever see you ever seen are you looking up Philistine?
No, look it up.
Oh, okay.
Because we have a lot of these.
Yeah, when the water was gone. Look, so this early next morning. No. So look, she is.
Well, let's answer
right
what
here,
I'm trying
here.
to say because you called me out, and I want to answer it fully.
Well,
right?
I want to tell you exactly why I'm calling you out first,
Okay,
and then
perfect.
you can add. Okay.
Yes.
Like it. So, cast out the slave woman. The matter distressed Abraham greatly. God said, "Don't worry about it, for the son is a slave woman." Early next morning, Abraham took some bread, gave bread and water, sent her into the darkness, and she wandered about in the wilderness of Beersheba. Right? That's where she is. When the water ran out, she's under a bush. Let me not watch him die. Look, wake up. God, what troubles you? Duh. Who asks that? She's fucking burning to death and she's starving. Fear not, God heard you. Come lift up the boy, blah, 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 blah. Then God opened her eyes and she saw a well of water, right? So she's in the wilderness of Beersheba and he makes her a well, right? Okay. There's another thing. What were we just doing here? I'll come back to that maybe. Okay. Therefore, blah blah blah. Okay. At that time, Abimelech Abimelech is chief of Abraham's troops, right? At that time, Abimelech and Phicol, whatever, chief of his troops, said to Abraham, "Hey, God's with you. Therefore, I need you to promise me you're not going to fuck me or my people,
right,
and deal with me solidly the way I've dealt with you." And Abraham says, "I swear it." And Abraham's like, "So anyway, that water, that well water, your servants took. What's going on with that?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "I didn't even know there was a well until you said about it today." So Abraham took the sheep. And he's like, "Look, I'm going to give you this shit, and you're going to tell everybody you know I dug this well." Okay, that's what they use her from. Hence, that place was called Beersheba.
It was called Beersheba before that too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Is like, so that well that God sprung for
you think
Isaac
that's
or
the
Ishmael,
well they're talking about?
Well, I mean, all we can take is the words here, right? So like, nobody had dug a well at Beersheba. Abraham didn't know about it. Abimelech didn't know about it. It was just like out there in the middle of nowhere. And
no, I back it. Yeah, no, I guess
that's what I was talking about when it's like,
that
how
makes
can
more
these not
sense
be?
to me now? Yeah, no, I'm on board with that.
But Abraham, after finding out it's there, wants to be like, dude, you tell everybody you know who dug the well. It's my well. right? It's like
Yeah,
because
it's
it came out of nowhere. Nobody knew about it.
It's his God for saving his offspring.
Well, we don't know. It doesn't say that.
No, we don't
It
know. I
doesn't-
was just going fun.
right.
Yeah.
There's what swear to me, kiss and kin. There was one other one I wanted to ask you about here.
Perfect.
He lived in the wilderness. His mother. No. Oh. Yeah. So God heard the cry of the boy.
Yeah.
God heard the cry of the boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
God heard the cry of the boy, and an angel of God called to Hagar from heaven. From heaven. She can't see him.
Mm-mm.
What troubles you, Hagar? I'm thinking that these are wrinkled. These are like, what if there was like a this just sounds so stupid to say, but it's like, but not as stupid as pew, 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 like maybe
It did
now
well,
I'm going to
yeah.
use science to explain religion.
Okay.
Like maybe this, like these alternate realities, like the multiverse,
Yeah.
there's supposed to be another one of us right next to us, right?
Absolutely.
Stacked in, like if you were looking in the hall of mirrors, right?
Finished.
So maybe they're in there, or maybe there was a wormhole that they like opened up so that they could get here for the time being, for however long it lasted for, and they could come and go as they pleased. But like this says, like they can hear us from this other, like when it was open. I don't get the feeling it's open anymore. I don't get the feeling anybody's listening now,
Or
but
maybe
people
it's
were definitely listening back then.
Yeah.
And he's always sending his, his compadres,
Yeah.
his colleagues,
Mm-hmm.
But I think the way the casualness with the way they say he
Yeah.
heard my cries
He's
and said,
there.
"Hey, yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, yeah,
He
it's a-
directly interferes with their life. God comes down and walks around with you while you're getting groceries and tells you like, hey, you should do this or that, kind of. There's this
Right.
weird intimacy.
well, it's literal.
Yeah.
It's not a figurative God is with me. It's like
No.
exactly what you said, walking with God.
Yeah.
Like you want to be walking with God the way his colleagues are walking with him on the fucking planet, being like they are,
Yes.
which apparently means you can shoot shit out of your hands, which is amazing. I totally want to walk with God. But anyway,
Me
those are
too.
the points I wanted to make.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's and again, maybe we should call out that this is a slave woman. By law, she was required to do this.
Do what?
Try to give a male heir to her master. If her,
Oh, yeah.
it's like a common thing back then. And then what happens, of course, once they have their own magical baby, the jealousy
which
starts,
means-
she gets kicked out. But God,
Wait.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to ask. So, but Ishmael is only divine as much as did Abraham impregnate Hagar?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So Ishmael is only as divine as the general genetic stream allows Abraham to be.
Which,
Right.
from apparently this story, is the purest there is. Like, we're not talking about anyone else from this time. One, it's not like all these other people that came onto the stage kind of exit quickly, and Abraham and Sarah are staying this central theme. It's about them, right? And like,
Now, are you is this you?
compiling what we've read so far? I try not to go forward at all.
No. Is this you projecting? Is this when you say?
No, it's like when we're reading this story, don't you get the sense it's about them?
I don't. That's not my job. My job is not to get the sense. Like there's no sense to this.
There's absolute
My sense is that
This is
these
the
are
story of
aliens.
Abraham. You're right, because so here's the thing. To them, that wasn't a big deal because it was known.
Right.
And they talk about it all the time.
Right.
So we're focusing on like that one guy, like what's the Alec Baldwin scene when he's like, coffee's for closers. He's like, I'm going in. What's that movie?
What movie? Which one?
That amazing
Oh,
scene
is it-
with the salesman and he's like,
Glengarry Glen Ross.
yeah. And it's so there's this side character that you and me now are totally obsessed with because no one's ever talked about it. And it is the most interesting part of the story. But it seems to be there because it was so common and normal in all of these stories from back then. That's just how it works, right? Now, the story that's going on.
Okay, first of all, I'm not signing off on that, but proceed.
Okay, yeah. So I think if you were the person writing this story, you're using the angels and God fucking all them and impregnating them to build up the story of Sarah and Abraham. They're the central figures right now of the last couple chapters of whatever's going on here. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And so when you talk,
how did we get on this?
Because we were talking about the fact that like Ishmael comes from like pretty like strong tap of the alien stream, right? Or
no, he comes from half. He's half, right?
Yeah.
But that's right.
Yeah,
and you're saying that Abraham was as pure as was available.
I was trying to,
but that's not nearly as like, and that was probably. Well, yeah, who knows? Maybe like it doesn't say that anywhere.
It's
you know what I mean?
fun.
No, it does.
I know. No.
It doesn't say that. Like,
well, it keeps calling him.
He
good.
definitely was chosen. God chose him, right?
Well,
he's like, are you going to be my guy? At one time, he says, "Are you going to be my guy?" He's like, "I'll be your guy." But is that because he is malleable, or is that because he just is like a? I mean, it seems like if he was like a direct thread. If they would have traced that line to him, and there were a lot of begots right before Abraham comes in, right?
Sure.
Is that true?
A couple, not as many as the beginning.
The first time, right? But they do begot to, right? Yeah.
No, but also, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think my point is that like Ishmael is not as divine. He doesn't have 50% like straight from the tap, right? He's not barrel strength. He's like
the
beer.
nation of Israel. Yes, you know.
Well, no. According to like this story.
This story, this is written by them, right? It was written by Jewish people.
This wasn't written by them. This was compiled by them.
There you go. I like that one.
Yeah.
Better. Sorry, I misspeak sometimes, but yes, right.
No.
So you got to remember the editors are editing it probably for that. You know, we'll see. These people have been fighting for a long time. You can
right.
You can say that.
Okay. Yeah.
But I would also say that remember when right here Abimelech and his like muscle show up, and they're like, "Hey, everything you do works out for you." You know, so like we got it now from kind of an enemy's mouth that like whatever Abraham's doing is really kicking ass.
But they're not enemies anymore.
Yeah, but you know when Abimelech goes back to his concubines, he's like, "Fuck that guy," because
he can't because he's fucking petrified because God. He's fucking totally petrified. God shut off all his wombs.
Yeah,
it says that God shut off all his wombs and then fixed them. Okay. So it's like no. People are now bowing down before Abraham. You're not fucking with Abraham. And it says that Abimelech and that FICO guy are now the head of Abraham's troops. So they're like he's like Abimelech and dude, they're like lieutenants or generals to the president.
I was taking that they still have their own territory and kingdom. I thought they were separate. And
I think they might do that. Like at the time, Abimelech and FICO, chief of his troops. They were the heads of the troops, so they were generals for sure. But they're definitely taking orders to the point where he's like, "Look, dude, I know that I know you're God's boy. You got to promise me you're not going to fuck me. I've treated you squarely. I didn't kill you. I could have killed you, and maybe God would raise you from the dead. Who knows? But I didn't. And I've been your guy, and I'm your general. Yeah, you got to be as solid with me as I am with you.
Yeah. It's the fucking homage. So he's king shit. He's the gangster.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And but what's crazy to me is I mean, this is the first time we hear about the land of the Philistines, right?
Yeah, this is the first time it showed up, right?
Which is crazy because it's like
David and Goliath.
I don't know. I don't know anything about them. All I know is that like they are.
Yeah. Oh,
well, and Goliath is fucking a giant, right? Oh yeah, you're gonna fact
myself.
Yeah.
Yes, he's a giant.
Yeah. So that means he's Nephilim, right?
Yeah, I guess, right?
Who is Goliath descended from? Does it say that? Are we going to get to all that?
Yeah,
Like, who
we're
is he, or
gonna
is he
get
just
to
some
all
random
that.
giant? I always thought he was like a cyclops
Yeah, he's a
monster.
Philistine. Kind of, because I don't want to ruin it, but there's a
Yeah, okay.
really
Don't.
interesting thing that gets lost, and I think that's all I have to say about that, because it's
Okay,
great.
good.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
And I do think we'll probably be doing Revelations next because of all the weird shit happening in the world.
Sure,
But anyway, what a weird God that is being painted in all these stories, regardless of our fucking theology right now, regardless of how we're interpreting these stories.
Right.
I think one thing we can all agree on, it's not anything you've been taught in Sunday school.
Well, you've heard little. You've heard like pieces. You've heard morsels. You've heard crumbs of this cookie, but you haven't eaten this cookie.
No.
You know, it's like this is not something.
This cookie.
No, this is not something you ever put in your mouth before. You'd be like, this tastes funny. It's kind of bitter or sour or kind of salty. You know, it's like, no. You haven't taken this load, man. This is fucking crazy.
Dude.
Yeah.
Dude, and like, yeah, and it's so hard to even like.
Dude, this starts with fucking the Lord knocking up Sarah, and ends with like, no, don't tell anybody that I didn't dig that God well. You know, it's like,
right, and like he got the God well by being a shitty human and sending a woman out to die with her baby.
but God told him to be a shitty human. Hey, don't worry. If Sarah tells you to kick this chick out, you know what? Happy wife, happy life. Don't ever forget that. It's the first time that ever comes in, isn't it? That should be the golden rule. Look, he said it right there. Happy wife, happy life.
If your wife offers you a slave woman, do not take it, apparently.
No. It was fine to take it. But once she had the God baby herself, you know, when she's like, oh, no. That bitch got to go. She got to go. Yeah.
Everyone wants to do what now?
No, I was just saying, like, are we going to go through 22?
I think we should. Right? We've killed it. How about, let me look.
Dude, it's so crazy. It's so crazy.
It's so, because, yeah, that's the thing. Is it's like,
are we
these
not
stories.
done being crazy? I mean,
well, you know, it's a longer chapter, so if we have to stop in the middle, we do. I said that's what we do. Because these stories get ridiculous. So why don't you just start in 22, and I'll smoke weed.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Genesis 22. Sometime afterward, God put Abraham to the test. He said to him, Abraham. And he answered, Here I am. And he said, Take your son, your favored one, Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the heights that I will point out to you. So early next morning, Abraham saddled his ass and took with him two of his servants and his son Isaac. He split the wood for the burnt offerings, and he set out for the place of which God had told him. On the third day, Abraham looked up and saw the place from afar. Then Abraham said to his servants, You stay here with the ass. The boy and I will go up there. We will worship, and we will return to you. Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering, and he put it on his son Isaac. He himself took the firestone and the knife, and the two walked off together. Then Isaac said to his father Abraham, Father. And he answered, Yes, my son. And he said, Here are the firestone and the wood, but where's the sheep for the burnt offering? And Abraham said, God will see to the sheep for his burnt offering. God will see to the sheep for his burnt offering, my son. And the two of them walked on together. They arrived at the place of which God had told him. Abraham built an altar there. He laid out the wood. He bound his son Isaac. He laid him on the altar on top of the wood. And Isaac picked up the knife to slay his son. Then an angel of the Lord called to him from heaven, Abraham, Abraham. And he answered, Here I am. And he said, Do not raise your hand against the boy or do anything to him. For now I know that you fear God, since you have not withheld your son, your favored one, from me. When Abraham looked up, his eyes fell upon a ram caught in the thicket by its horns. So Abraham went and took the ram and offered it up as a burnt offering in the place of his son. And Abraham named that site Adonai-Yireh, whence the present saying, on the mount of the Lord there is vision. The angel of the Lord called to Abraham a second time from heaven and said, by myself I swear, the Lord declares, because you have done this and have not withheld your son, your favored one, I will bestow my blessing upon you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars of heaven and the sands on the seashore. And your descendants shall seize the gates of their foes. All of the nations of the earth shall bless themselves by your descendants, because you have obeyed my command. Abraham then returned.
Should we pause right there and talk about that? Because that might be enough for, you know.
That's plenty. That's plenty.
Right? 19? I mean, like, because, like, holy fuck. I mean, one, see, this is, okay, I can say it this way. This is why I take these stories as, like, psychological metaphors on how to be a human, how to live here in a good way, you know? Because, like, it just, one, the whole idea is that these guys haven't had their own kid, you know? They've been wanting to have their own child together, you know? And they do, and pretty much, I mean, you know, obviously this kid's like, you know, can walk and do stuff and talk, and
he's a bowman.
But well, that was Ishmael.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, no problem. But like the idea, it seems like sacrifice the one thing that you love the most. You know, it's like, because, you know, and it's like, I like how it says, like, Abraham was tested. It's like right away, it's like getting God off the hook for telling this guy to go put a knife through his kid. Like, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's so, why wouldn't, I mean, if you think about it, okay, if we're going to take this, if this is take it all at face value, why wouldn't Abraham step up? Why wouldn't he? Because it's like, he'll just give him another one. You know what I mean? It's like, this is God's kid anyway. He's not even Isaac's father.
Concerned.
He's not his father.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
It's like, he's his stepdad. He's his fucking stepdad, dude. And
maybe that's why he's not concerned, because he's like, you're fucking God's kid. He's not going to let anything happen to you. I'm just going to do what he says.
Well, and, you know, nobody really likes their stepkids. You know, it's like, you know, this is like the first Brady Bunch action, you know, where it's like, no.
I love my stepkids.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a joke, isn't it?
Sorry. No, it's good. We do.
No, I don't hate mine.
Tolerance break, you know? Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like, that it's mostly a joke, but like, it's not his. So, of course, God can do what he wants with it. It's like, yeah, he's mine, but you gave him to me.
Well, and that's his demeanor, right? He's like, the kid's like,
hey, I noticed we're lacking the sacrifice.
And he's like, God will provide one. He doesn't even hesitate. He's like, go.
Well, he doesn't hesitate to lie. I wonder if he does.
Maybe it's a sin of omission, you know?
Yeah. And the two, God will see to the sheep. Well, that's the thing.
Yeah,
so he does lie. He lies.
Oh, yeah, because it's a fucking ram. Oh.
Well, no. He just, no. Because Isaac doesn't. Oh.
Yeah, because he doesn't tell him.
He doesn't tell him that it's, no, I'm sorry, you're the son. Oh, you're the offering.
I like I interrupted your question. I do think Isaac knows.
Do you think Abraham knows that he's not going to make him kill his kid?
Yeah.
You think
I think it's implied because he's such a righteous. The whole deal is like, this man is so righteous, he will do anything God says. If God tells him to kill his own fucking kid, he will. You know, like
blindly following.
But he was right. You know, maybe righteousness.
Well, that's the thing, though, that like organized religion wants blind loyalty, whereas like where this is more like he knew he wasn't going to have to kill his kids. It's like, sure, whatever you say, man.
Yeah,
whatever you say. You're Jacob. You watch Lost?
Oh yeah,
yeah. So Jacob. So Jacob, that's who we're talking about, right? That's God. That's the guy who's like,
and he's the guy at the very end. The guy's been.
He's the one protecting the island.
Yeah. Okay.
He's the blonde guy that comes to them all
Yeah.
during their lives when they're young, and and his brother is the dark smoke.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So but whatever. So maybe the blind, like he's had God has shown him over and over and over that God has his back.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
This blind loyalty, this blind following that organized religion wants, we got no proof. There's no proof. We don't hear the voice. You know, we don't we don't have fucking Father Morris never came to me in the night. He never looked at, he never saw about my sister.
See, but like, dude, this is fun, but we should go off on it. Have you ever heard or been to a church where they speak in tongues?
No.
Really?
I've seen it.
Okay. She rode on a Honda. You basically just say she rode on a Honda in weird different ways really fast.
No, I mean, I've seen it on YouTube, but like, I don't even know where
they're called Pentecostals.
Yeah.
And you know, to be honest, most of those churches are fucking awesome, and the people that go to them are usually the coolest when it comes to stuff, because they, you know, like let's say Baptist is the most strict, you know, in front of Jehovah's Witness maybe. Pentecostal would be the farthest the other way, you know.
Less
so
strict.
yeah, and you know, we're all just trying to figure this all out. So if you want to speak in tongues, whatever, but you are just going, she rode on a Honda. She rode on a Honda. It's really funny. And so, like, I was going somewhere with this bigger. What were we just talking about? Isaac, God.
Just that there's been no proof. And so, you know, like Abraham had proof over and over again.
Yeah.
But
and like, are you going to
organized
trust
religion
a voice?
wants us to, what's that?
Are you just going to trust a voice in your head? You know?
What do you mean?
Well, like, let's say you hear a voice come from heaven that tells you to go kill your kid.
Well, but that's not what this is.
I feel like
it's a voice, but he's also walked with him and hung out with him.
Agreed. Yeah. But
he's hung out with his colleagues, his compadres.
I mean, they fucking gave him the kid, right? They fucking,
it's like he fucking gave him the kid. The kid. It's like it's not just like this. It's not just this one time. Like, oh shit, I either burped or God told me to go kill my kid. You know, like I kind of sneezed and I thought, it's not that. You know, it's like this person is involved, actively involved.
Okay,
that's what I'm talking about. It's like
so now I can tackle that.
Us
what you've been trying to bring up. Yeah, now I can think about that.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Leads us to
actively involved.
Yeah.
And organized religion is peripherally involved and never involved in your nothing in organized religion comes to you in the night, or like they'll help you if you need food, but like
only if you believe everything they believe and you do what they do and dress like them and talk like them. And it is unfortunate. It's true.
But no. Even then they don't, it doesn't, you're not literally, there's not a literal active involvement. You know what I mean? Like
with God and humans and
with God, with God through organized religion.
No,
not in this way where it's like, no, don't worry about this. I'm going to impregnate your wife. Like, to show me one Christian who, instead of having IBF, couldn't get pregnant, had God do it for them.
Well, there's going to be a lot of people that say they prayed and that happened, but yeah, I agree.
God, praying is not what happened to Abraham.
No,
God showed up, and he and his buddies are like, "Let us fuck your wife. We'll impregnate that bitch."
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like that is not praying.
With theme music behind it, like really well lit.
That was the first time the brown chicken. The first time a wah pedal was ever used was in that alternate reality with
dove.
The first fretless bass ever used was right then.
For real, Squires, get on this immediately.
Right. So that's the thing, is like, that's my problem with organized religion, is like, show me the active involvement. Show me the proactive involvement, not the reactive, not the, I prayed and he listened. Because look, Hagar was not praying to God when her baby was burning in the desert sun.
No, she was just
was just crying, going, I'm
She
fucked.
couldn't even see it. That's how hard it was for her. She had to like go away from her dying baby. It's so
Yeah,
horrific.
yeah, exactly, right. She wasn't praying, "Oh, please God, please God." She was just like, "This is fucked. This is fucked." You know, she was crying. She's sobbing. Okay,
Yeah.
he is actively monitoring the situation. Sends a dude down. Oh, don't let that. You know. And the other thing that I find really interesting about this one in particular is that again, it's not God who shows up and says, "Hey, don't kill the kid." It's a colleague, and so maybe they're like,
God's busy.
I know he told you to kill him. He'd had a couple of hoo-hoos.
Yeah.
You know, he's into his cups. You know, he had a couple of ram's blood horns on, you know, like it's
It was
always
Zeus's
somebody.
birthday, okay? Sorry. Yeah. we went real hard.
He was on his 21st century run, you know. Yeah, like it's always somebody else cleaning up his fucking mess.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
look, I know he just came and knocked you up, but we're gonna tell your husband Joseph it's all good. So I'm gonna go to Joseph, and it's like it's always somebody else cleaning up his fucking mess. You know?
Yeah, he's busy. So there's one thing that has been not one. There's a billion things, and this is what I look forward to every week is getting to hash this shit out with you. You know, but like, dude, the more because I edit out our bathroom breaks and stuff like that, and the more I listen to it. I like that you've been catching me and we're just like reading this book chapter by chapter. We're seeing how it's evolving, right?
Yeah.
And so you start to see why, like, I think of God as this all-knowing, all-present, knows every single thought, everything being, because it kind of seems like God, Yahweh, is evolving. Like first he was just snuffleupagus in the garden and like can't see behind a bush. And now as the ages are going down, now he fucking was listening, like actively, He knew everything that was going on there and intervened at a perfect time. He fucking dug a well for him. Or magically made it appear.
Yeah. Well, again, it starts this thought of the connection, this thought of active involvement, and active monitoring that seems to be gone. You know what I mean? Like it's not. I'm not saying it wasn't here. I'm just saying it's not here now.
Definitely not.
Well,
maybe mushrooms.
Oh, we keep forgetting to do mushrooms, but we keep forgetting to did they do mushrooms all the time? Were they like, anytime was Abraham doing a lot of mushrooms and like every time God is with him, he's tripping?
I mean, not in the text, at least. There's no evidence for that. There's more evidence about Jesus than that, though.
I'm thinking wormhole. And they opened a wormhole and came here and did our thing, and then they like. And I'm not saying that's what happened.
What if
I'm just
they don't even need a wormhole? What if they just are beings that are so evolved that they can go through the fourth dimension, that they can walk through time like we would walk down the street?
My answer is that then where are they?
Like, you wouldn't be able to see them if they go in the fourth dimension.
No, I know, but they were so active here, and now we never see.
Oh yeah,
like where are they? It's
I
like
guess we suck.
And no, I don't think we suck.
I
think that they have their own. They've proven they have their own weaknesses. They're not infallible. Necessarily. They're just better than us.
Yeah,
and just barely. They just have, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they have just, we're one fruit away.
Yeah, they're like, so so that leads me to, and this is like stuff where I'd call you out on. I'm just extrapolating.
Oh yeah,
that like, okay, well, if they're not here and they were here, then I'm looking to science to describe what happened. It's like, and the science would be that they came here. They like, you ever see Interstellar?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right. Mm-hmm. So we created a wormhole in the future to go back so that Matthew McConaughey could, or actually his daughter Scout,
could get off,
give them the answer to what happens on the other side of a black hole. Right.
Yep.
But it was closing up. They found it, but it was closing up after a while. Right. Because they're only open apparently, and this is like fucking, obviously obvious fucking Lee. You know, a wormhole is only in existence for, I think you have to make them, first of all. I don't think they happen naturally.
They're proven?
No, yeah, they're proven. Yeah, it's a fact that wormholes are designed, have to be created by some massive energy source.
Got a carol of the bells going on.
Right. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, this whole sentence
I'm
is like,
buying though.
right.
See this
But
pipe?
that's so,
I'm
you know,
buying.
so maybe they opened up a wormhole to get over here to do this, and they while it was open, they could come and go as they pleased, and they just haven't done it again, you know. Or well, of course, the other option is that, you know, they were the Anunnaki and they came here to make a slave race to mine for gold because that's what their spaceship is fueled on.
So I always had this thing where I felt like if you read the entire Bible, there's like a prize at the end where you no longer believe in any of the churches or denominations that you were involved in, you know?
When did you think that? That's brilliant.
After I read the fucking whole Bible.
That's amazing. That totally makes sense to me, right? Like as soon as
it's
you
like
read the
if you
Bible,
do the work,
yeah,
it's like the prize is like, haha, it just keeps going.
Yeah.
But like, that's what is great because I think it's sad that we've put God in these small boxes because I think he's so much bigger than we can even think. And by cutting off other people's thoughts or the dates or the way we're looking at this story now, where we're like, dude, like God's fucking women. Like by taking all of that out, you're actually doing everyone a massive disservice, you know, because everyone has hinged their faith on this really some pretty big issues. How, if you have sex or not, how you live, if you swear, you know, how you conduct your day-to-day life on only like 1/73rd of the information that's in this book, you know. I might have to edit a lot of that because it's pretty stoned, but do you get what I'm saying?
No, it you know, God impregnates Sarah out of wedlock while she's married. Isn't that a stoning offense in the New Testament?
Absolutely.
Right?
Another book.
Yeah. And so it's like, yeah, so I mean, I hear what you're saying. I would just, you know, I'm always I love what you just said about you came up with the prize for reading the Bible is you don't need religion.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's all, you know, like take what's in here and parse it out yourself because no one can tell you, you know, it's like everybody who's talking about it, they're just parsing out. They're just like, well, it could be this. Oh, it could be this. You know, it's like, take it all. You can't take part of it. You know, this dude, Genesis, fucking Genesis.
The first fucking book, and look what's already happening.
Great.
And by the way, it's like 50 chapters, right? So it's like we've still got some legwork to do. And like, good goddamn, like, you know.
Yeah, and the part like, and this is back to the words. Where's the burnt offering? Don't worry about it.
He's so Samuel L. Jackson. He's so
Careful,
like
he totally
stone
does,
cold.
Right? Yeah. An angel of the Lord called to him. He doesn't even show up. He just calls to him. Hey, real quick, don't kill the kid.
Yep. Oh, and good job, because now we know you are awesome. Do 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 do.
Yeah, you won. Show him what he's won. So
Lots of grandkids.
And I don't. And so, like, whence the present saying, "On the mount of the Lord there is vision." I've never heard that. I've never heard that saying. Have you?
What a cool, badass line. What verse is that?
14.
14. Let me look it up real quick.
Yeah.
Oh, let me go back.
If you like, so if you go all in, maybe that's what it is.
14?
Like if 22:14, yeah. If you go all in, you will see what you need to see. You know, like you'll.
Yeah, dude. Right.
That's a pretty ballsy. That's the good. You know, like whatever you're gonna do, Well, it's like if it whatever you that's that thing we want you fully committed, right? Is that like God wants you full either all or nothing?
That
Is that him?
67 occurrences in the Bible.
What on the mount of the Lord there is
In
vision.
the hill country, pitched. It seems to all be about a physical place in every reference.
Okay, well, this is a saying, and it seems to be like, well, seems. I would totally call you out on that. Like, on the mount of the Lord there is vision. If it's a saying, would you think that meant if you're like Abraham is fully committed to the point where he's taking his kid up on the mountain and killing him because the Lord says so, and when he gets there, he's ready to kill him, and he gets the prize of not having to kill him and sees a fucking goat or something?
Well, can you imagine being in that moment? Like, let's say all this is fucking real, and like you just you were so faithful, you're just about to kill your kid without any hesitation at all. No worry. He goes right up.
Said, yeah.
And
what I was gonna say is like maybe he's like he's gonna like wait for the nod from the emperor. Like he's gonna raise his sword, but he's not gonna. He's gonna wait for the up or the down.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Yeah.
Like maybe right.
But,
he's like,
but not on the way. I mean, even when they leave.
On the way, he's a baller. I got good news and bad news, kid.
Yeah.
I'm gonna carry the knife. You got to carry the wood.
Dude. Right. And like he tells the people they're with, he's like, me and the boy will go up and then come back to you. So he's not concerned. Like before they even go up the mountain. And like maybe that's why I love the psychology, because maybe that kind of faithfulness does develop these mountaintop moments in your life where you can see clearly.
So on the Lord of the Mount, on the Mount of the Lord, you get vision. So that's totally what I'm saying. Is like that's that saying is if you fucking go fully committed to what you're doing, you'll get the flow state. You'll get the. I
agree.
You will know that things are just going to work out. But that's not how this. That's not how this plays. That's not how this is spun.
Well, because it's going to be life. But I feel that way too. Like you're saying about like, if you do right, you will have the reward. But if you don't, sin is crouching at your door. Remember that Cain and Abel story where it was dude, if I practice the set 15 times in the trailer before we play a show, I'm pretty confident I'm going to kill the show. You know what I'm saying? So if you do this or that, and you sacrifice or you give, and in those moments when everything seems like it's going to go to shit and it doesn't, like it can maybe provide a laser beam focus for you to cut through whatever level of agony bullshit. Like, he wants a lot of kids. He doesn't have them. This all happens. He's even willing to sacrifice that. In that moment, on that mountain, he realized he's going to have more descendants than the entire.
Well, or just that, he might not even be like that far in the future. He's just like, I do what he says. I do what he says.
I mean, that's the moral. That's definitely, I feel like what you just said is like, Abraham is obeying.
Yeah. He's on the team. And again, there's no reason for him not to be. Yeah. There's no reason for him not to be. He's been actively engaged by this being.
All the time. Other people say it. Other people are coming up to him and saying, like, dude,
kings,
God loves you.
Kings are like, hey,
Jesus.
God was gonna God closed up all the wombs in my village. Could you maybe toss me a little bang and maybe you could on the Mount of the Lord there's vision. I want to start using that.
I have been quoting more Bible shit since you've brought it up on here. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. It's fun. But like
it's funny to tell people. It's funny to tell. So what was I doing? My buddy Mikey was talking last night about how everyone's getting shot.
Oh no.
People are getting shot everywhere. Like here, all over the country, whatever. There's like just weird
guns and ammo are out everywhere.
And he's like, man, I don't know. Things are going crazy. I'm like, yeah, really? You ever read the Bible? I told him that. Do you know who J.C. Tree is?
Who?
There's some religious guy who was
Casey.
From here. Casey, do you know him?
Casey Tree. No, because that was like an anathema to
who is that
denominate. He's like a huge wealth and
health and prosperity gospel kind of guy for the Seattle area.
That's a buddy of my buddy.
Yeah, I've heard he's really nice.
He was in prison, right?
Is he?
He was.
I don't know.
Yeah, he
I
was
don't
like a junkie and he was in prison.
Joel Osteen. I fucking hate all those guys.
I don't know anything. I just.
They
what is
have helicopters that take them to and from their Sunday services, dude. They're fucking pimps.
Mikey's like, I think we might have to start a church.
Yeah, they get tax exempt status and then they fucking ball. You know, it's like what's his name? Kenneth Copeland. You know that guy with the jets?
I don't know him.
Oh, he didn't want to ride in tubes with demons, is what he calls an airplane. So he bought a $14 million private jet so he can fly around. He's worth like $780 million. And he's a pastor. He's the one that blew COVID away. He's like, COVID be gone. It just blows into the mic for like 2 minutes. I'm about to send you a lot of clips.
Don't bother. That's cool. I think we should just start our own church.
Pragmatic.
Let's edit that part out.
No, I get what you're saying, and I think that's why people are listening.
No, yeah,
because
really
no one has a logical conduit to this idea. They have it in their heart, maybe they're trying to figure out the truth, but no one's talking about the real shit ever. They're all selling their denomination, their hairstyle, the way they should talk. They don't even read the Bible. When you go to a Bible study, you're usually just studying what the pastor said on Sunday. So they're reinforcing dogmatic
echo
ideas.
chamber.
Yep, and that's why people like us, because get fucked. We hate that shit.
Just get fucked,
dude. This is great, and even starting late and you racing out, this is perfect. So we got it done, brother.
Yeah. Love you. It's true. We do. We love reading the Bible. We love you. Until next week, smooches.